Today we will begin with the poem Epistle to Miss Blount with the works of Voiture. Let us first have a look at the title, Epistle to Miss Blount with the works of Voiture. There are actually two parts of the poem. There is the epistle or the letter to Miss Blount, one young lady whom Alexander Pope knew, and there is another part where he gave a tribute to Voiture, the dead French poet. However, Alexander Pope began with the elegy to the dead French poet Voiture. An elegy is a poem written on the death of a person. Lines 1 to lines 20 include a tribute to this great French poet Voiture. Let us study these lines. Line number 1. In these gay thoughts the loves and graces shine. The word gay here means happy and cheerful. In these gay, happy, cheerful thoughts, the loves and graces of Voiture shone. Voiture was a writer. He was a great poet of his time. In the poems and writings that he wrote, they reflected the loves, the relationships, the friendships that he had with the people around him. His lines also reflected the graces or the good qualities like sympathy, honesty, etc. Lines 1 to lines 20 are a tribute to the dead French poet Voiture. Voiture was a person who was happy and cheerful. His writing lives on even though he is now dead. He was so good at writing poetry that it seemed to him an easy art. His writings also reflected his happy nature. Trifles themselves are elegant in him. Trifles are small, seemingly unimportant things. Trifles in this context are small, seemingly unimportant words. When they are used by Voiture, they seem to have a certain elegance or grandness. Such was his talent in writing poetry. Sure to charm all was his peculiar fate. His peculiar fate or destiny was that he was able to please everyone, who without flattery pleased the fair and the great. Without using flattery or false praise, he was able to please the fair, the beautiful, the good-looking, and also the great and the powerful. Still with esteem no less conversed than read. Voiture was as good in talking or conversing as he was in writing, with wit well-natured and with books well-bred. He was very witty. He had an ability to use words well, but he would couple this with good nature. He would never use his wit to hurt others. With books he was well-bred. In other words, he was well-read. He was well-educated. His heart, his mistress, and his friend did share his time. While he was alive, he spent time with his heart, that means with himself alone. He also spent time with his mistress or his beloved and his friends. He also spent time with the muse or the goddess of poetry. In other words, he spent time writing poetry. Thus wisely careless, innocently gay, cheerful, he played the trifle life away. He lived his life in these words. of Alexander Pope, wisely, careless, and innocently gay. These words are usually not used together. Those who are wise are not careless, and those who are careless are not wise. But Voiture was wise in things that he should be wise, and he was careless about unimportant things like what critics think about him and other negative things. Cheerful he played the trifle life away, till fate scarce felt his gentle breath suppressed. He lived life cheerfully until fate or destiny decided that it was his time to die. Till fate his gentle breath suppressed, in other words, till he stopped breathing, as smiling infants sport themselves to rest. He lived his life in a cheerful manner, and when he died also, he died with a smile on his face, like smiling infants who would smile after the long day is over. Even rival wits did Voiture's death deplore. Even the enemies or the competitors of Voiture did deplore his death. He was such a good person. And the gay mourned who never mourned before. Gay here means the ones that are cheerful. Even people who are cheerful and happy by nature, they were sad at the death of Voiture. The truest hearts for Voiture heaved with sighs. Voiture was wept by all the brightest eyes. The smiles and loves had died in Voiture's death, but that forever in his lines they breathe. Voiture may be dead now, but he still lives in his lines or in his poetry.